Welcome back to my channel. Today we're back in the kitchen again, and I'm going to show you one of my favorite meals to make, and more specifically, this is what I call a sheet pan meal. And honestly, it doesn't have to be the exact ingredients that I'm putting on here. It can be whatever's in your fridge, thrown on a sheet, thrown in the oven for dinner. As far as what I'm making today, whatever I put in front of my husband, he's going to eat, but my son is a little bit more picky than he is. So let's get to it. So you may be asking yourself, what is a sheet pan meal? Well, it's anything and everything all at the same time. So basically you can just put anything that's in what you'd like to have in your meal on a pan, and you put it in the oven. And so picking ingredients that are going to have like the same level of cook time, so like more heartier vegetables if you're going to be cooking like a chicken, for example, because it's going to be cooking in there for about like 40 minutes or so, or depending on what type of protein that you choose. All right, some of the veggies that I'm going to be going over today, I'm going to give you some tips on how to prepare them so that when you're cooking time, things do finish at a similar pace. All right, so the first up, I'm going to start off with broccoli, and I'm going to not chop this up too small, because when you're chopping up broccoli, you can't cook it in the oven for 45 minutes. So I'm going to be cutting this up in bigger bits, just like this. I think that's pretty much it. Get rid of some of the dead end of the broccoli. And I'm going to be coating this in a little bit of salt and pepper and oil. So I'm just going to throw that in there. Next up, I'm going to grab my cauliflower. I'm probably not going to use all of this for my sheet pan meal. But again, I'm going to be cutting it in larger chunks so it takes longer to cook and it doesn't fry while the chicken's trying to finish. I swear this thing looked great when I picked it up an hour ago. Why is it brown? Perfect, get rid of that. And so I'm probably just going to use half of this. And again, I'm going to cover it in salt, pepper, and oil. Last but not least, there's going to be some carrots. So I am just going to peel these really quickly. This ain't fancy. This is a time crunch. I'm not cleaning this off in between. I'm going to leave the carrots whole. I may chop them up a little bit more, but for the most part, they're going to be larger chunks. If your kid has an aversion to bigger chunks of veggies, you can always just chop them up when it comes to mealtime. All right, next up, I'm going to chop up some garlic to throw in there to season it. You don't need a whole lot of garlic. A couple cloves will do. Did you know when you put your knife on top of the garlic and you smack it down, it makes it really easy to peel. It just pulls right out, because garlic can be a royal pain if you don't know that trick. And I know how difficult it can be to cook, like if you're trying to gain a fitness goal and you're trying to, cut back on carbohydrates for like non-training days and stuff like that, but your family, they're not cutting back, they're not on they're not trying to lose body fat and whatnot, especially kids. Kids need a lot of carbohydrates, so I make sure to cook them every meal. Doesn't mean that I consume them every meal, but I always make sure there's lots and lots prepared for my growing 4-year-old. I swear to God, he sprouts every day. All right, now I'm going to be using some avocado oil. So I'm just going to give a generous amount over the lot. And then I'm going to add some salt. Since my son doesn't like pepper, it's too spicy for him. We'll add, my husband and I, if we decide to have pepper, we'll add it at mealtime when it's already plated. But for now in the cooking process, I'm just going to omit it because I know he doesn't like it. And why make mealtime harder than it needs to be? So now I'm just kind of getting everything kind of lubricated with the oil and the garlic. And I'm going to use the same bowl for the potatoes because less cleanup, the better. All right, now to the starch portion. When making a plate for kids and stuff like that, it's always important to have a protein, and men too, and women, depending on your activity level. You want to make sure you have a starch as well as lots of veggies. Your plate should be 50% veggies and a protein. You can figure those numbers. We have an app at Body Tempo that will help calculate those appropriate numbers based around your goals. but there's lots of different ways to calculate that out there. So I'm just cutting these relatively big in size. Again, there's going to be chicken on here, so we want the cooking time to be around the same length. Roasted pan potatoes are amazing with breakfast the next morning, so if you make enough to have leftovers for breakfast for like a Saturday or Sunday, it's great. I'm going to put these in the bowl. Again, I'm just going to use salt and garlic. All right, for the protein today, I'm going to be using chicken thighs. And the chicken thighs, I'm going to remove the skin on a couple of them because my son doesn't like it and I don't really like it either. My husband likes it, so it makes my life easier. I'll leave a couple with it on. I'm going to put the meat in here last, as you can probably tell, so it doesn't spread all to the rest of the dish. And if you haven't already, start your oven to 400 degrees and we'll be ready to go. So I just got some rosemary. And I'm going to sprinkle this in throughout my dish. Rosemary has a ton of health benefits to it. I'll probably put a little bit on my potatoes too. There's still garlic in the bowl from before, so there's lots of garlic in there. And then we're going to place these little gems throughout the dish. Isn't it beautiful? Look at this. It looks like a masterpiece. I feel like this might need a little bit more oil. It looks a little dry on top. So I'm just going to coat that again. And now I'm going to throw it in the oven for about 40 minutes. And I know that ovens temperatures vary. And so I could put it in my oven for 40 minutes and you could have a wonderful convection oven and it will burn the crap out of it in 20. So just keep your eye on it to make sure things are cooking evenly. I would suggest putting like a 20-minute halfway timer on it to check in on it. So here we go. All right, here you have it. The veggies are done. I will say the broccoli is a little overdone. I probably should have left it in a whole form, but it's done, baby. Dinner in like 40 minutes, took 10 minutes of prep time, little effort in totality, and here she is. Well, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and this is just one of the first of many sheet pan meals that I'm gonna share. This is such a great meal when I'm busy, and which is always, and I just have little time for prep, and I just let the oven do all of the work. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and a subscribe. That would be wonderful. And if you don't like it, please do it anyways.